Welcome to the Soundcheck podcast, part of the Feedback Network, the only place that is for the musicians. Today we're going to be talking all things identity, inclusivity and visuals. But first off, it is time to introduce our very special guest, Skint Knees. Guys, how are we doing?
Hey, buddy.
Doing good.
So, tell us a bit about yourself. Who are you? Why should we care?
Gosh.
Great.
Who are we individually or as a band?
Why not both?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I'm Jinx. I'm one of the guitarists. You're also a guitarist.
Yeah.
In Skint Knees. And
I'm Bella.
Yeah.
I'm Skunk. I'm bassist. Do a
Amazing.
lot of screaming. You should give a shit about us.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
We do have a drummer too.
Yeah. She just can't
Not
be
here.
here.
You know, give a shit about us because we're not just dudes.
Yeah, we're not,
Not just dudes in
We're
a
not
band.
generic dudes.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Skint Knees. How long have you guys been playing together?
I think we figured it out.
Did
5.5,
we?
6 years. That's how long we've known each
Yeah,
other.
so it was about 5 years that Skint Knees has been a thing. But like I'd say that we've evolved now to be proper Skint Knees.
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah.
Probably the past year or so, we've probably
yeah,
yeah,
year or
stepped
2
it up
years
a bit
ago.
and-
yeah, year 2 years we've stepped it up a bit and kind of found who we are as a band.
And who exactly are you? What sort of music do you play?
It's like Riot Girl punk. It's kind of grungy. We've got like
We all draw so many different influences from different places.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it all kind of amalgamates into like the sound that we have.
yeah.
Yeah.
What sort of
So-
influences have you got?
Yes, we've all got like our own like music taste, but like they all do overlap. Like you're very grungy.
Nirvana for me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
That's a big
me.
one.
Yeah, like I've always loved just like punk as well. My favourite band's always been Green Day, but that's not like the extent of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And I like Riot Girl and skate punk.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want my life to be a Tony Hawk soundtrack.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Well, speaking of soundtracks, you just released a new EP, Bite Back.
Yeah.
Came out last month, six,
yes,
I think.
it did.
Yeah.
Yes.
What can you tell me about that?
What an EP! It's fucking great. If I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it really does show like the step up from anything previously we'd done. Like our first EP we did in like an abandoned community centre
Yeah,
with like
we did it-
50 quid.
Yeah, no, it was 40 quid.
40
we slept
quid.
on a community centre floor. It was freezing cold.
It-
We were cuddling. Our
I
old
used your arse as a pillow.
you did. Our old drummer used a drum stool as a pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it all in 48 hours.
Origin of floor time.
Origin of floor
time.
yeah, that's Skint Knees law. That.
Yeah, that's and like then we went to our friend Ross, who did like gave us basically our first experience of
Proper
proper
recording.
recording and not sleeping on the floor. And then with this new one, and then with like Rachel as well, it's just been like absolutely insane. It's been like such a true moment of like it actually all coming
Yeah.
together
How it
and
should
sounding.
How
Yeah.
it should have sounded in the first place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as obviously we are all about the musicians, want to put the musicians first here at Feedback. And how does it come about recording that first ever EP? How do you sort of? I know obviously you had an EP beforehand, didn't you?
Yeah.
Forgive me for forgetting the name of it.
It's
Was
called
it
Cat Call.
Cat Call?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes, that's it. And how does that process work? How do you get into someone going, right, we're going to record this professionally?
But we were immediately like, okay, we need this to sound better than the last one,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think it was our friends in a band called Camisado that recommended the guy that they used for their album. It's a guy called James Fosbury
Yeah.
at Big Dog Studios. And so we were just like, yo, you got any space for us?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think the best thing to do as well is like at gigs speak to people that are coming to watch you, because a lot of the time there'll be people that record or other bands that have just recorded and know someone. So
yeah.
it's a lot of like just introducing yourself to new people, and if they've come to your gig and they like you, see if they can record you. Like just speak to everyone that
Yeah.
you can.
Be a
really.
part of your community. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
go to local shows, go talk to people. Like, it can be hard sometimes. You don't always have a lot of free time, but when you can, go talk
Yeah.
to these people, and then you might find people that are like you and doing the things that you want to do.
Well, speaking of opportunities, Jinx, last year you got to go on stage with Green Day.
I
You've
did
mentioned
do
already.
that. Fucking drop that one
What
in
was
there.
that like and how did that come about?
Oh my god, don't even get me started.
This will take up the hour.
No, it was, so since I was about 12 years old, that's when I first saw Green Day, and then I wanted to get up on stage, because they do it at every show, they bring someone up to play this one song. And I wasn't lucky enough then, and then I made it my fucking mission. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I made it my fucking mission. And I learnt the song and I was just like, let's fucking go. And I was there right at the front, and it came to that moment and he would look down at me and was like, you swear you can play? And I was like, holy shit, this is me. And as soon as I was up there, just seeing that sea of like, what was it, like 35,000 people or something like that?
That's crazy.
I was, in that moment, I just went, this is what I want to do. Like, this is my thing. Yeah. Then he gave me his guitar and I was like, yay.
And it has such a nice case. It's got leopard print inside.
Oh, he gave you the...
Yeah, he gave
To
me the
keep.
guitar to keep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that guitar with all my heart. It's
What
so
is it?
good. It's a Epiphone Les Paul. It's his signature edition.
So on that sort of topic of making those opportunities for
Yeah.
yourself and making it a mission, you also supported another really successful punk band, Oozes, last year. Should musicians be looking to get more support gigs rather than play their own show? And how do you sort of go about it? How do you go about getting them?
50-50.
It's useful to get your support shows, because if you're playing, especially like the Users, like we have a similar kind of style to them.
Yeah.
So if we're playing to their audience, chances are a lot of their audience will like us, so it benefits you. And then obviously these bigger bands will keep you in mind, like. But I do think it's also like important to put your own shows on. It's very humbling and a bit stressful, but it's essential, I think.
Yeah, it definitely helps to, like, if you're trying to get somewhere, it helps you get your name out there, it helps you do that. But yeah, I think even doing the smaller support shows, we all fucking start somewhere. We all have to start from playing in shitty little pubs or whatever. Like, that's what we did. Like, the amount of gigs we did at West Street Live, dearie me. Like, fun gigs, but, like, yeah, you do these smaller bills with, like, small bands and you become friends with them, or you don't. It's, yeah.
And I think putting on your own, you can then also kind of like pass it down a bit, because I feel like we're in a position now where we can put on a headline show and like we can like put bands on that are also
Similar to us.
and like might not always get the opportunities to do things, because for our EP show coming up, all the bands, we have made sure that they were all like female presenting and like mained and like non-binary and very like queer representation, because
Yeah, 'cause it's what's important to us. That's what Skint Knees is about,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I was just about to say, described on your Spotify as making a name for ourselves by screaming about gender, sexuality, and equal rights, unafraid to show our queerness or tone ourselves down. Why are those issues so personally important to you?
Where do we start?
I think it's a lot. I mean, oh sorry, Bella.
I was just going to say, like, if you look at what we were influenced by, which was the Riot Girl movement of the 90s, like, the things they were fighting for, we're still fighting for, and I think it's important to carry that on. Like, and just, I think if someone that feels like they don't fit in listens to our music and feels like they've got, oh, I can go to these gigs and be around like-minded people, then that's great. Like, who wouldn't want to do that with their music? Like,
Exactly. Yeah. It's such a lovely scene, I think, having like all these like queer representation, like not even just as bands, like people that do say sound or record or make posters, zines, whatever, having this lovely community of people. It's so nice, and like the more and more you build it, the more and more you can use your voice to like talk about what's personal to us and stuff.
yeah.
Well, how important is it to try and get across what you believe in your music? Is it essential to making music, if that's what you want to be, like be authentic to your feelings?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
you can't sing about something that you don't believe in, and you can't scream about something that
And you can
don't
tell
believe
if
in.
someone's singing about something that they
yeah,
don't believe
that
in.
is so
Yeah.
true.
It's like-
Yeah,
Yeah.
Have you got any examples?
Ooh.
bite your tongue.
I do, yeah. We'll save that for after.
I just think it's so important to like be authentically you, and like, you know, as a kid I grew up closeted,
Yeah.
very like didn't say anything about like queerness or like gender or, like, or my identity or anything, and then like I feel like I'm old and grown and gone through a bit of life where I couldn't like be myself. I think it's so important to me to actually like be like my authentic self and like not be ashamed of that and like
have a sense of pride in yourself.
Yeah.
To like be like, no, this is what I believe in. I do this and I want to do it for a living and I want to make sure people know about it and hopefully inspire and influence other people to not be so afraid to be vocal about what they believe in.
Yeah, but also like it's important to have a balance. Like you don't want, but well, I don't want every single song to be this is how shit everything is.
Yeah.
And like we have songs that are uplifting or about something completely separate from politics as well. Like I think we've got a good balance. Like we won't always set out to write a song to criticize something or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have a bit of a balance because music should also be fun and an escape at times. So yeah, it's cool to have like a balance.
Write your silly little songs.
Yeah.
Write the ones and like I feel like ones that we do can be quite like tongue in cheek with like the
Yeah.
vibes and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well,
keeps it updated.
how much of music writing is that sort of creativeness and not? I know obviously you were inspired by so many of the, you know, as you put it, like the shit going on in the world,
Yeah,
you know, and,
yeah.
and you need to sort of get that out. How important is it, certainly for a punk band starting out, to sort of tap into that, or is it more important to just sort of go with the flow and feel what you're, you know, making at the time?
I would say the second one actually. Go with what you're feeling. Like don't force anything that's not there or try and come up with something that you're annoyed about and you want to sing about. Like make it authentic. If one day you want to sing about, I don't know, being gay, and then one day you want to sing about something completely different, that's fine. Like you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to find like a topic and go, I'm going to write a song about this specific topic today.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that naturally will come out of anyone. So then you sit looking too closely at, like, look closely at things, but you try and analyse it all too much and make what you're, like, the song too structured in I need to get all these points across because it's about, say, I don't know, the UK government, and there's all these points and blah, blah, blah that you're trying to put into a song, but that's not necessarily creative.
Yeah.
Is it important not to pigeonhole yourself?
I guess, yeah.
And also, like, I think you can be, like, you can use metaphors to describe something that you're really pissed off about. It doesn't always have to be so, like...
point A to point B.
Yeah.
I think, like, using imagery and metaphors to describe something is cool because it's a bit different. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, bringing it back to your EP, Bite Back, have any of these issues that you've talked about helped in the creative process of this EP? Are there any songs that really stick out for you that you go, yeah, I wrote this song about this issue?
I mean, I would say that about Cheerleader.
Yeah.
Cheerleader.
Yeah.
Because it's about like
absolutely.
being like
Yeah.
slut shamed and like
Yeah.
I know at some point. Well, I just people stare at you. We had a lovely walk together and people took photos of us.
Yeah, we
because
did.
Were
you there that time when there was we were walking down the mall, and this man, I was like 16 at this point. We're just minding our own business, and this guy is like, "Oh, you've got a right fine pair of legs on you." Oof, and I was like, "Mate, I'm 16 years old." So like, and I think almost every single girl, I would say every girl at some point has experienced slut shaming, catcalling, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's so messed up. So yeah, definitely Cheerleader
Yeah.
is like a massive.
Why was it
influence.
important to transfer that experience into song?
Because I think it's such like a shouty and a chanty and a scream song. I think it's such a good release of all that like kind of like pent up anger. Because like I know especially I just bite my tongue a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think it's easier and like I'd rather do that than like risk getting hurt if I'm just trying to walk to work, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like Cheerleader is such like a nice release of all that pent up anger and energy and just like a true thing to just kind of like scream to.
Yeah.
It's got like a part that the whole audience can be involved in. There's a chant that's like really easy to pick up, and I just think like the experience of everyone chanting that in a room full of people that share the same ideas is like really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we see that, it's just like
Insane.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to musicians who want to start taking societal issues a bit more seriously in their music?
taking it more.
Come together as a band and discuss what's important to you and what it is that you want to talk about.
Yeah, 'cause we did that. It's like it's always been like known what we care about, but like we wrote like the Skint Knees manifesto.
Yeah.
So how did that go down? Tell me a little bit more about that.
We were, was it when we were sat in the pub?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were sat in Shakespeare's after a
Yeah.
band practice, and we were sat outside, and we were just like, right, let's get all these points down of what it means to be in Skint Knees, what we are trying to get across like through our voices, and what else was there?
Like also a lot to do with who we play with. Like we'd kind of come off a long stint of doing these support gigs where it was an all-male lineup. We were the token
Queer band.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we kind of all were just sick of it, and we're like, right, we don't need to accept every single gig. Like, let's
Just
look
because
at
it's
our,
a gig.
yeah, like look at, okay, are we here for this reason, or like, do they just love our music and want to put us on, which would be great. But a lot of the time, it's kind of
Yeah, it just feels.
it felt a bit diversity points.
Even
kind
if
of thing.
that wasn't the intention, it could just sometimes feel like they wouldn't necessarily put effort into talking to us or anything like that. So it'd just be like, oh, we're just here to fill a quota.
Do you think that some people are intimidated by you because you are
I hope
that
so.
demographic?
I don't think people should be intimidated of us by any means, but I think that bands that are like us shouldn't do like the things that say we did, and you don't have to take every single gig opportunity just because it's a gig. Like if you want to do it, absolutely go ahead, but it's just work with people and care about who you're working with,
and put yourself first as well. Like you can say no to things that you don't want to do, or like have a look at the lineup and think, is this gonna benefit me, or am I gonna feel a bit weird here? Or because we've done gigs before where like they've not even realised that we're the support band, or like we did one in Manchester where we were headlining and they came up to us and said, we'll sound check you after we've done the headliners, and we were like, we are the headliners. Like, so yeah, go to say yes to gigs where you feel valued and like they like your music, they like what you're about, not just to benefit them.
To just fill a slot.
Well, I mean, obviously you've said there, like, don't necessarily take the gigs if you don't feel like you're gonna sort of get what, you know, for example, Skint Knees are really about. If this gig is going to get what Skint Knees are about, is it important for musicians to sort of take a stance on something in their music, and why should aspiring musicians, you know, care about what's going on in the world and making sure that it fits with their values?
I think it's really important because like the music is the thing that connects so many people, and like, you know, I listened to a lot of political bands growing up. I used to love Rise Against, I still do, and all of that is like about kind of like the state of America, and like I felt the vibes. But also like I don't think, maybe controversially with you guys, but I don't think that you have to start initially at that point. I think you can grow from it, because I know when we started Knees, I was quite scared to sing about my queerness because we were doing gigs in pubs.
Yeah, well, when me and you first started, like, the songs that we had, which will never see the light of day, they were pretty much exactly like what I'd said earlier about, like, oh, here's some political issues and we've put them in a song. Because we were too scared to talk about our, like, inner feelings and, like, what things mean to us, which I think.
So I feel like you can definitely have like a natural progression, and don't like force yourself into it straight away, because it is really scary. And like I know when we first did Cheerlead, I was just like shit scared to like do it, because I was like, this is talking about like my queerness and my experience and like stuff like that.
It's hard to be like vulnerable in a song, because you kind of feel like you've just written a diary entry and just said it to a room of people. It is quite. But that's why we kind of put like tongue-in-cheek stuff and like jokes, and like sometimes it'll be really sarcastic or whatever. Like it's never too serious with us, I don't think.
It's like serious issues, but like with a bit of like
Do you wonder whether that maybe masks how you're truly feeling about it, or do you really go, you know what, that's how I want to express it in that sort of fun way where it can come across well in a song, rather than just being, as you've said, a diary entry just out there?
I think it's important to not have it just be like,
here's a rant that I've done in a song.
I think it's important to engage your audience and have a bit of fun with it, because at the end of the day, it's a gig that people are, you know, whatever they've got going on in their lives, they want to come and just listen to some music. They don't necessarily want to leave feeling deflated because we've just discussed everything that's awful.
Going on in the
Like,
world.
it's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe, if you guys agree, I feel like our music kind of has like a uplifting kind of feel to
Yeah.
it, because
Yeah.
we're talking about this stuff and we're like, but like it's overcomeable. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
we can
It's
get
empowering.
over it. It's empowering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Boys Like You as well, like starts quite vulnerable. Like I wrote it about stuff that had happened from like being a teenager, but then towards the end it gets to just like a chant of like Boys Like You, and it's like everyone joins in, and it's like it doesn't have to just be a moan, it can be also uplifting.
It can be empowering that you're
Yeah.
fighting against
Yeah.
it, right? Yeah.
It's like a unifying experience.
Yeah.
And like if everyone can be like, I've had this has happened, it's shit,
Yeah.
but fuck that.
I think we do that a lot in our songs. Like, well, not massively, but there's sections where people can join in and just like scream with us and
Yeah.
be involved. Like, at least for me, I know that that's something that I want Skint Knees to be like. I want it to be like quite get involved, like
Yeah.
participate, like get on the stage
Yeah.
if you want, like.
Yeah.
Like grab the mic, do what you want to do. Like this is as
Yeah.
much your show as it is ours. Like
Well, talking about that union, you mentioned Skunk, how there was sort of you felt very uncomfortable talking about your queerness in your music. Is there an issue in the music industry surrounding sort of the inclusion of LGBTQ plus community?
I think it's definitely got better over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Like with bands like the Users and like Jen and the Generates, those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Like now that they're coming into like a more like mainstream, and which is amazing, it's fabulous. But like you know, like
from like this like kind of I guess grassroots level, you do find your sleazy old guys that are the promoters and
Yeah.
your blah blah blah, and they're kind of like you just kind of brush them off, but like they are a bit of a problem. Like there needs to be more. I don't know how to word it. Like
What would you like to see from other musicians and venues to sort of help the problem?
I think putting on more like queer event nights and stuff like that, or just like generally, I quite like a mixed up kind of bill.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's not necessarily all the exact same genre. Like throw stuff together. Like it might surprise people
Yeah.
that they enjoy it and like actually listen to what these bands are saying.
I think venues and also approach should make a conscious effort as well to have like more female sound techs
Yes.
and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
because I think I can count on one hand the amount of times we've had non-male
Yeah.
sound tech. We've
I
had
think
two.
we've had
And
two.
it's
We've had Leisha,
Leisha.
who did our first headline show,
Yeah.
and then we did, I can't remember her name unfortunately, but she did the one.
The Manchester show, wasn't it?
No,
No, because there was a woman that did. No, so maybe three then.
maybe three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of them. It's like there's not a lack of females in this industry. Or
Not at all.
It's like the same with these huge headlines you see of like festival lineups, and it'll be like loads of men and people in the comments or something will be like, well, there isn't these good female bands that can be on here. There is. People just aren't looking for it or
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
listening to it. Like there never has and never will be a lack of women, or not. Start again. There'll never be a lack of women wanting to do these things, wanting to do these roles, but it's about being seen and actually being given the opportunity
Well,
to
I
do
mean,
that.
Glastonbury for the first time this year features 2 women headliners,
And that's the
Yeah.
first
and that's
time
the first
ever.
time. And
It's so depressing.
It's SZA and Dua Lipa this year, and you're telling me that these people weren't around for? I don't think so. Like,
Yeah.
but what? How does it change? How do you fix it? What needs to sort of come from and anybody? It doesn't just have to be bands. It can be, as you said,
Yeah.
like techs and
I
stuff.
think it is quite deeply rooted into like the bigger picture of like the music scene, like these big wigs and stuff like that. I think it's them that we kind of need to be targeting and be like, when you've got your people scouting for bands and stuff like that, don't just be like, ha, there's 4 white boys with brown fluffy hair. Let's go. Let's have them. Like,
Yeah.
that's generally speaking what tends to happen. And it's like there are some great bands that are starting to succeed, like Jen and the Degenerates, who like we also played with. Like they're doing brilliant. Like they're doing really really good at the moment. But yeah, there's so few bands that I could actually say are like on these like say festival lineups and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think it's about like people, like men being allies to the female musician community as well. Like I've noticed with Foo Fighters tour this year, they've got a shit ton of like female
Yeah, they have.
bands, and that's really cool to see. And I just think like people should take a leaf out of their book and think like, okay, we don't need a band that everyone knows. Let's get someone new that people don't know are going to be interested by. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point. Like on these big headline tours and stuff like that, like get a small band from the city you're playing in, shove them on the lineup,
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah.
Well, now speaking of identity, I want to take it slightly into more the visuals of certainly your latest EP, Bite Back. What inspired them?
Your dog.
My dog, yeah, Dolly, she's an angel. Do you know what? She's a riot girl.
That
She's
dog is
so
a riot
feisty.
girl.
She's like gorgeous. She even has her fur is black round her eyes, and it looks like she's got a wing of eyeliner. So she is just a pure riot girl. So that's why she's on the front. She's very small, and people look at her and think she's a cute little puppy, but she's actually like 11 and really feisty. Like that's why she's
Yeah.
on it for me.
She bites
Yeah.
back,
Yeah,
right?
she
Like
does,
this.
Yeah, exactly. And like the colours and stuff like that, it's so in your face. Like we love those colours, like
Yeah.
green and pink.
Yeah.
They're so vibrant. And yeah, I think it just like gets so much like attention and draws you in. And it's like, look at this.
Well, something that we did the research on was the Too Damn Loud festival, and
Yes.
their advertising is very similar to that. Yeah,
I made them.
you made them.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was about to say, did that impact the sort of direction of Bite Back in where you went, right, this is sort of what we want to go for?
I think I made Bite Back
I made
before.
Back before.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay,
And then
wow.
you were going through that kind of style of like making
I
everything.
love me some cut and paste.
Yeah.
I love cutting out things and sticking it to paper.
Yeah.
Good design habit, but yeah, I made them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they're pretty great.
We're very lucky
Yeah.
that we have a brilliant graphic
Yeah.
designer in the band
And I
because
put the festival on.
you did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there we go. Obviously,
Yeah.
Skunk, you're a graphic designer. Jinx, you're currently studying art at
Yeah.
Sheffield Hallam University. How has that sort of art teaching and like sort of classic education impacted the visual side of Skint Knees? Not just in an album sense, but overall, you know, how you dress, how you look on stage, all of that.
I think it's beneficial, but it wasn't ever like a necessity. Like we all have our own style and like individuality. Like you didn't go to uni.
No, I didn't.
You're still so creative. It's like I'm not worthy. But like yeah, you've graduated. I'm still doing fine art. Like I think it helps in a sense of somewhat knowing like techniques to advertise, I guess. But I don't really know.
I know, like with what I draw on, I went through like a whole thing with my time at uni because I thought it was a certain way to do this, and there are certain ways to do stuff. And then over my time there, I had some really great lecturers, I had some really fantastic friends and like times there, and that was like a self-realization of like style and everything, and just being aware of these practices helps display things a lot better. And like it's all about visual communication, making sure things are easily read between things. I feel like that's something that we bring into like the branding of the band and like the style of it. Like I just think it's very like equalizing, and it helps a lot, and like a strong identity is always like good to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It is.
how important is it to think about? And like you had the Skint Knees sort of mantra that you made beforehand about what you want to stand for. How important is it to think about visuals in the same way?
Well, it's how people are going to see you at the end of the day. Like it's what you're giving out to the world, so it's really important. Like someone seeing the Bite Back EP cover could be their first interaction with seeing something of ours. So it's important for it to look good, look cool, and be bright
It's
and
like a
eye-catching.
first impression, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, exactly.
But like we don't really bring that kind of like thing to like live shows. We all kind of express ourselves. We don't
Yeah.
have like a
Like, this is what
uniform
you
or
need to
dress
wear.
code for
Yeah.
us. We just all
We all turn up as we are, and then we're like, oh, cool outfit today, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Like, yeah. The only time that we'll maybe think a little bit is if, say, we're doing a photo shoot. But even then, it's still dress how you want, be comfortable, express yourself. Like, obviously, you're doing a photo shoot, you're gonna dress up, look good for it, whatever. But just be ourselves, really.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it more important to be loud and out there and controversial? Maybe this is a silly question considering you're so inspired by the Riot Girl movement and that sort of thing, but is it important to sort of be boring and authentic, or loud and controversial but not necessarily yourself?
I think you gotta be yourself.
Yeah.
You've always
If
gotta be
if
yourself.
you are inherently boring, stay inherently boring.
Mm-hmm.
Don't force
Yeah,
it. Like,
yeah.
I don't think you have to be kind of like political to either be yourself as well.
No, you don't. No.
I really like Creeper. They just dress up as vampires.
Yeah.
They're great. Like that's
Yeah.
their like identity and like vibe.
yeah.
But it's not really anything political, but they're
Yeah.
being them because they just like
They
spooky
like
shit.
the little vampires. Yeah.
They like spooky shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like I think as long as you do something you like, you can make something great out of that. And I don't think it necessarily has to always be.
yeah. And there'll be someone that likes
you,
it.
You
Yeah.
don't have to look a certain way to be a Riot Girl, for example. You
No.
could dress in the most plain clothes, but if you've got them Riot Girl values, you're a Riot Girl. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
It's the same with punk. Like that's a stereotypical phrase, but like it's not a fashion style.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
if you've
It's
got
not
that.
just black leather and
Yeah,
spikes,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Like if you've got
Yeah.
that mindset, right? Boom, you're a punk, you're a emo, you're a metalhead, whatever. Like they've
Yeah.
all got their own values. So
Well,
yeah,
do you know what? It's really interesting because we spoke to, in one of our articles on our website, Kirk Weddle, who is the guy who shot the Nirvana baby floating in the
Oh,
water sort of
wow.
guy.
That's
And
cool.
I feel bad because I've mentioned
Yeah,
it
I'm listening.
2 podcasts in a row now. We've mentioned that, but he sort of said that he would rather have something controversial and really like out there than something boring. He said never be boring with an album cover. Do you agree with that statement?
With an
or do you-
album cover, yeah,
Yeah.
don't be
Yeah.
boring because no one's going to pick it up then. But then
Yeah.
look at like the Beatles' White Album. That's just a white
But-
album.
but
in an
nobody had ever done it at
arty
the
sense,
time.
It's
Yeah.
that controversial.
Well, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. To be fair, ooh, yeah.
I think visually it's very important to stand out. I
I think now more than ever as well. Everyone's
Yeah.
fighting to get like
yeah.
but-
And like social media's a battlefield.
Oh,
it's
my
real
goodness.
hard. But I think visually that is an important point to like have a good strong visual online presence or like album covers because like I said that's someone's first impression of you and like you don't want to sink into the background of like when you're scrolling through Spotify or whatever. But sorry, just to briefly touch on like physical real life visuals how
Yeah.
you dress. I don't think you can ever like judge someone for that because like
No.
you can't be like, oh, well, they're not a punk, they don't dress like this. Like money, it's shit. We're in a shitty cost of living crisis. People don't have the money to get
Just wake
the
up in the
things they
morning.
want. Yeah, I just
just-
want to wake up in
like-
the morning, man.
You touched on social media there. How would you? Do you have a social media manager, or do you do it all yourself first?
do
off?
it
Do it
Ourselves,
ourselves, and it's
yeah.
the vein of our existence.
How do you go about sort of curating it so it works for you? And what advice would you have for other musicians that would be looking to do the similar thing?
We kind of have roles in it. Like
Yeah.
you do more of, like the Instagram and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like because we get photo shoots done in like similar styles, it like makes a nice continuum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think making your feed stand out, like with like visually, like make things all look nice on your what's it called?
Feed.
Feed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you said
okay,
it
right. I
there.
thought there was another word.
Profile page.
Yeah, on your
Yeah.
profile. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like also like what you write, like as kind of cringe as it can be, like use emojis to like make it like stand out a bit more and stuff, so people actually read it. Because on Instagram, people just like, oh, pretty picture, scroll. They don't really read. So if you've got like something that's saying like, oh, this is what's happening, like in all capitals, whatever,
Yeah.
that does massively help. And as well, timings of when to post. That is a really important thing. So yesterday, just to see what would happen, I did a Instagram post at like midday. It performed terribly. And usually we'll do it at like maybe 5, 6 o'clock. And it performs way, way, way better because that's the time people are on the phones and stuff.
I always think like everyone's on a bus at like 5 o'clock scrolling the phone, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like that's a good time.
Yeah.
Evening.
Definitely.
Say I
helps.
did
Never
one
early
with
morning.
TikTok. I did one at like midnight. Did awful.
Awful,
Like if
yeah.
you do ones at 5 o'clock, they do pretty
Yeah,
solid.
do so much better.
It's just frustrating because it feels like sometimes you need to be in like your entire marketing team. I
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
in marketing and then I do it in my free time
Yeah.
for band.
Yeah.
How do you go about sort of learning that 5 p.m. is the time to do it? Is there any way that you can sort of improve your education on that?
There are like, I'll just like Google things sometimes and be like, okay, social media for like for managing a band or whatever, and I'll just like scroll through whatever articles there are. Some of them are crap, some of them like have been useful. That's like how we found the best times to like post things. If you're trying to announce something like on like a Friday, is quite good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like exciting. Weekend's here. This is the big thing that's happening. Woo!
I think we're still learning.
We are
with
definitely
that.
still learning, for
We probably
sure.
don't have the best way of doing
No,
it. Like,
but I think it works to an extent.
Yeah.
There's definitely more that we could do.
I think
But
something I learnt with doing like the TikTok for us quite a bit is just that to not be precious about things, because videos that I've edited have done shit.
yeah, that have
And then
taken
things that
ages.
have taken me 20 seconds, great.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a lot of trial and error, I think.
yeah.
So sort of taking this away from visuals, and this is just something that impacts smaller musicians that I wanted to talk about. There's been a huge issue recently with people stealing equipment, and I think you know where this might be going with this question. So van theft in particular has been up 50% since 2020, according to the Met Police. Bella, you had your equipment stolen
did.
from a train.
Oh,
I feel like I'm on Nardwar.
It was the fucking worst day of my life, that. So I'd saved up for this Squire Jag, done like not many gigs with it, would you
No.
say? Like,
5.
yeah. Got a train home from a gig in Sheffield because I live in Manchester, and yeah, I never do this, but I put it in the overhead carrier thing, and I never do that. Like, I don't even know why I did that. Got off the train, went to Piccadilly, taxi rang, and was like, fuck, where is that? Ran straight back up, the train had gone. It'd gone back to the depot, so the people at the train station were saying, oh, it'll be absolutely fine, like, no one will have nabbed it or anything, like, it'll just be at the depot, just ring lost property. But that wasn't the case, I never got it back. So if you're listening, fuck you. I don't know who it was, I don't know if it was staff or whatever, but it was like...
I feel like it was staff.
Yeah, it was the worst thing ever. We'd just gone through like quite a tough time as a band, and our heads were everywhere, and I was just like, oh, it's another thing, innit?
How did it feel to sort of have that taken away from you?
I was fuming. I was absolutely fuming. I couldn't think about anything for like 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah,
I was so pissed off. I just thought, like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know, but I think there was a book in there that had songs in there. There was pedals as well, and I just thought, like, you're seeing this, like, someone's seen this on a train and thought, do you know what, I'll have it. Like, probably took it to Cash Converters, but actually it meant so much to me. It was the first guitar that I'd, like, saved up for and really, really wanted. And then, yeah, like, people don't realise how much equipment costs. Like, I can't even remember what I paid for it, but there was also a DS1 pedal in there as well, and, like, leads and stuff, and it just causes more problems.
How did it affect your music making? When did it happen, first of all?
Last year.
Yeah.
Was it after the Uses gig?
Yes.
It was after the
Yes,
Uses
it was.
gig.
It was after the Uses gig.
Was it so just as you're about to start making your new EP?
Yeah.
You've had your. How does that affect your music making?
Well, I picked up my Mustang instead and used that for a bit, but it didn't stop me. I was still determined to carry on writing. Like, it's like I'm going on holiday next month, and I'm already sat thinking, what am I going to do with a week not playing guitar? Like, that's going to drive me crazy. I'm dreading that part of it. So, like, you know, they stole it, and I still carried on playing, but it was just really annoying. But then my mum actually set up like a crowdfunder thing, which kind of redeemed my faith in humanity a bit, because people were so kind and like donated money, and I did manage to buy another one secondhand. But yeah, it was just
How
shit.
much of a problem, especially because theft is so high at the moment, is it for people who can't do stuff like crowdfunding or pick up another guitar?
It's a huge problem. Like, you could be stopping someone from playing their only instrument. Like, that's just awful. Like, for a lot of people, it's an escape, and then to have it stolen from you, it's just horrible.
What would, and other than don't leave it on the train cabin, what would be your advice on sort of protecting your equipment outside of, you know, travel?
See, I still need to do this, but you can get like Apple tag things so you can track them. I should have done that. Just have your wits about you a bit. I definitely didn't that night.
Yeah. I think this is also a stupid thing, but it's helped. Well, my partner's a drummer, and if they ever lend anything out, they tape like really bright neon tape onto the stands, so that they know they're theirs, because theirs are nice, so people aren't going to walk away with them instead.
Oh, also write down the serial numbers of your instruments, because I was watching like a rig rundown of the Breeders the other day, and I think it was Kelly Deal. She lost a guitar, and then I think it was 10 years later she got it back because of the serial number. So that's
You
what
never
we
know.
need to do.
Yeah.
Just sort of one final question, Jinx. What would you have done if it was the Green Day guitar?
That's it. Skint Knees is over. That I would have been even more
I think
insufferable
we
than
would have
you.
sent a manhunter out.
Yeah, I think there would. Oh, yeah.
All hell.
It would have been. I actually dread to think what that would have been like.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, we brought that guitar to a gig in Manchester a few weeks back with our friend's band, Pale Sailors. And I was there ready. I was like, oh, I'm going to play this guitar for the first time ever at a gig because I was a bit too scared to. I open up the case, I look at the guitar, the input was broken. And I was like, are you joking? Yeah, I
we
was
needed
so
like
upset.
a tiny, we need like a bolt or something.
Yeah, just a
for it,
little
didn't
bolt
we?
for it. But yeah, I was raging about that. That was
That
awful.
same gig, I broke my A string in the first
Yeah.
song.
So both of us were playing different people's guitars
Yeah.
that weren't ours.
Well, thank you very much for coming, Skint Knees. You've been an absolute pleasure. Check out their new EP, Bite Back, on Spotify, everywhere, on YouTube as well, I think.
Yes.
Check them out.
Yeah.
You've been an absolute pleasure. This has been the Soundcheck Podcast, part of the Feedback Network. Hope you enjoy. There's more coming for you next week. Cheers.